What's up? Hello, hello. You know what it is. You know what it is. It's me. It's Dorain. We're here for your entertainment needs. Strictly pornographic. I'm Klein Wong. This is the Fightcraft podcast. And of course, joining me is my impossibly black friend, Dorain Miller. Dorain, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, man. Can't complain. Friday night. For all the listeners out there, if you hear background noise, I have three kids. We got friends over. We got family members over. So might be a little noise back there.
The most professional of environment. No, dude, we have fun. If the listeners don't like it, they can leave a comment about hate and salt, and Dorain's no stranger to that, so I'm sure it'll be fine.
Bring it on.
Real quick before we start this podcast, unofficially sponsored by Alp for when you have the in-laws over and you just need a second to yourself. You need that little moment of like. Okay. You put the safety on, put the gun down, and then you get back to whatever it was you're doing. No, Tucker Carlson's nicotine pouch. I've been a Zyn guy, and you can't buy this in stores just yet. So I got Alp because I met Tucker Carlson at an event that I was filming for work, and he was cool as fuck. And upon seeing my boss and shooting the shit with him because they're friends, Tucker looks at my partner and I who have the cameras, and he's like, "Who are you?" Bro cuts a 10-minute, not kidding, 10-minute commercial for his own nicotine pouch closer to the camera than I am now, and it was hilarious. Tucker Carlson's awesome, by the way. Go ahead and peep it. What is going on? I asked him to do the "what is going on" face. Why did the Democrats do this to us? And he did not disappoint. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the news, the MMA news. I don't know if you guys saw the last week's earlier in the week episode, but last week's hilarious news that I wanted to touch on and get Dorain's thoughts on. Bro, was I not spot on picking Bryce Mitchell for my Salty Hater of the Year award? Like, I just love hating that dude. And it's like he saw that and was like, "I'm gonna win the award 2 years in a row, and I'm gonna set the bar real high in 2025." Hitler was a cool guy, actually.
He wants to go fishing with them. It's like that was wild. I feel like there's been a lot of MMA fighters have had a lot of hot takes.
Yeah.
That one's number one. That one is definitely number one.
That was far and away maybe the hottest take I've ever heard. Like, Colby called all of Brazil filthy animals. Chael went at Brazil. Matt Mitrione had a rough one with Fallon Fox. Matt Mitrione shitting on trans people before it was hip to do in today's blood red country. That one was so bad that the UFC was like, "Matt, we need you to issue an apology here." And Bryce Mitchell somehow topping it.
That was crazy. Even Manel Cap hitting a promo, calling Kai Kara France and Izzy's team the F-bomb.
Yeah.
He just let it fly. And there was I think it was the first fight on the prelim of that card. Somebody had dropped the F-bomb as well. They were letting it loose that night. That was a wild night. But Bryce Mitchell said, "Hey, hold my beer."
Exactly. I'm not even gonna say it. It was borderline anti-Semitic. Anyways, my girlfriend's Jewish, and I did celebrate Hanukkah this year. So, ally? I'll let you guys decide. One thing I wanted to touch on, and Dorain has known me for years. Dorain knows that this one struck a chord with me. Dominick Cruz announces his retirement of mixed martial arts, and I wept. I wept with the boy. Dorain, I'll let you start it off, man. What are your thoughts on Dominick Cruz, his retirement, his last few fights, his legacy in the sport? What do you like? What do you dislike?
I mean, there's just. I mean, obviously the dislike is him retiring. If there's anything to know about Klein here, is his two favorite fighters in the world, and he'll sit there and rant about them and look at them with two palms on his face and smile is he loves him some Dominick Cruz and he loves him some Nate Journeyman Diaz. And the sad thing is we didn't get that retirement fight. When we see our favorite athletes, no matter what sports you like, you want to see them get that send off.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, a UFC send off is not always great.
Bro,
and he had a tough matchup in Rob Font. So, I mean, at first when I heard the news, I saw he was out. I'm like, all right, maybe we get Cruz Aldo down the road. We'll let Cruz heal. And then it comes out, he came out with the statement he's fully retiring. And, he went out on his own terms rather than seeing him belly up or face down, booty up. We don't like to see our favorite fighters go out like that.
Those are rough.
Me personally, I still want to see Cruz versus Aldo. I feel like that's a fight that got away from that division that everybody still wants to see. They're relatively the same age. Aldo doesn't have very many in the tank, even though he's always trying to make that run. Aldo's always a tough fight, but to see Cruz go out like that, he's on the stretcher, he's giving the finger. I mean, I liked Cruz. I was a fan, not as big as a fan as Klein, but it's sad to see one of your favorites not get that right send off that you want to see him get.
Yeah, like a legacy fighter for sure, and definitely like a guy who he had injuries throughout his career, injuries that like tabled him for years too, which was rough. But you gotta wonder if like that added to his longevity for sure. Aldo and on the Aldo note for a second too, like Aldo was like, first off, fighter's fighter. Dude is a bad motherfucker. I know Connor slept him in fucking 13 seconds. I know. And casuals tell you, he's trash after that. And it's like, dude, no, Aldo was the shit. And then Fight Island, bro, Aldo versus Jan. Aldo was doing really good in that fight until he wasn't, right?
Yep.
There was a couple of rounds, man. He was landing clean on Jan, especially to the body. It was beautiful to see. And as even to put a stamp on that point, like Jan dishing out, I think it was Herb Dean. Herb let that fight go on for a minute, and Aldo maybe shouldn't have come out for the fifth round. And like, I don't know how many unanswered punches kind of crumpled up again. Like I think he was like turtling up against the cage, but Jan delivering. And then after the fight, Aldo thanks Piotr Jan for like the fight, and you're like, that dude, they don't make him like that dude. So Aldo, all respect. Cruz, cut from the same cloth in different ways, of course, but Cruz, storied career, dude. I put it on my X profile yesterday, but I mean, WEC bantamweight champion in a time when the UFC didn't have the bantamweight division, right? They hadn't merged with the WEC yet or absorbed it, and so Cruz was the 135-pound champion there, and Cruz then becomes the bantamweight champion in the UFC when they merge, and then he loses it, and then he gets it back, and he avenges his loss to Uriah Faber, like at a time where there weren't rivalries were a little bit rarer, like actual real, like a movie poster type rivalry, right? And they're still not that common, but like we have some pretty good ones.
Yeah,
I think Merab and Umar Nurmagomedov is going to be one of those, but I think that Cruz, existed in a time where they weren't really letting the champions go up a weight class and try to be double champs, and that was a sad thing because we could have gotten Aldo and Cruz. Like they were both guys who were considered the best of their division for sure. I mean, Cruz before Cejudo, I think the last guy to beat Demetrius Johnson, like consensus top 5 GOAT, and suplexing him all over the fucking cage.
Yeah. Ian McCall. They had a draw.
Yeah.
They had a draw.
Ian could have. I remember thinking Ian could have. You could have given that to Ian. And then I think they fought again, and we saw what happened. But to get back to Dominick Cruz, I mean, the guy everybody has known that Dominick Cruz is smart. He's an intelligent fighter, right? From his style to the way he talks to the way that he like game plans everything. He's a very intelligent fighter, and like watching him trash talk guys by just like straight face asking them questions and like asking them to like substantiate claims that they make and being like, no, we're not going to say like grandiose things. I'm going to ask you a question, and if you don't answer it, you lose. And it's like TJ Dillashaw, like, you got some holes in your game, and Dominick's like, what are they? How are you gonna beat me? And he's like, fuck you, at least I'm not gay. And you're just like, oh shit, Cruz is kind of styling on him verbally.
Klein was foaming at the mouth for that moment. That kept the chubby on him for about 2 weeks.
That fight is all-time favorite of mine, like top five. I fucking TJ Dillashaw and Dominick Cruz, because of this next point, which is that Cruz also redefined footwork in MMA. And you can say what you want, like Chito Vera had a quote about like his style being kind of like bad, like his head movement and all that, but it's like, yeah, it's bad now, but like for, I don't know, a decade, 15 years, like Cruz was dancing around people. He was doing things that seemed impossible at the time, like very similar in aura, not necessarily like technique, of like Anderson Silva, like bobbing and weaving against Forrest Griffin. And you're like, this guy is doing stuff that like seems like it should be a no-brainer, right? Move your feet. Things they do in boxing on day one, right? You go into a kid's boxing class, they're going to tell you to like slip and weave and move your feet and all that shit, but an angle out, right? Pivoting. What the hell is a pivot? But like Cruz was doing it, and he did it in a little bit of a funky way, a little bit of an awkward way, and it just worked for him. And this guy, like, redefining things, like Corey Sandhagen, and like, I don't know if viewers remember Justin Scoggins, like similar footwork, and then TJ Dillashaw comes out with his like neo adaptation of that footwork, and you know, hitting drop shifts and quarter turns and little Ali steps and all that shit. Like, it was beautiful to see. And Dominick Cruz, you know, coming back not just one, like multiple times. Like Dominick Cruz was sidelined for years as the champion, and they kept him the champion. And real ones know Renan Barão was the interim champion for years. Renan Barão
defending an interim title, not just Aspinall.
3 times, like defended it multiple times, to where even I was like, I mean, this guy's the champion, right? Like, Cruz has been out for like 3 years now, you know, spinning back kicking Eddie Wineland the night that Jones fights Gustafsson, and fucking they give him like the interim belt, and Renan Barão, because he won't learn English for an interview or something, and it's like, man, Renan Barão got styled on by both by TJ Dillashaw, and I believe would have done by Dominick Cruz. And so I have Cruz's statement here, but I just wanted to throw it up here and kind of like review it. Cruz just making your boy weep, ugly cry in the shower yesterday, and my girl's like, what the fuck are you doing? Dominick Cruz: to the fans worldwide, I've poured every ounce of myself into the sport for the last 25 years. I was really hopeful for one final fight, but unfortunately 2 shoulder dislocations in 8 months calls an end to this guy's career. Him and TJ Dillashaw going out the same way. Odd. I gave everything I had and put it into preparation for this fight, but focusing on my cardio and my body for the past year. But sometimes the body just doesn't cooperate. The pain isn't as bad now that my shoulder is back in place, but the second dislocation was far more complicated than the first. The sport has been everything to me. It's helped shape who I am. Thank you to the UFC for building this platform, paving the way for fighters like myself and some of the others. The UFC broke barriers. Also, for every MMA sports organization that followed them across the bridge, created throughout the politics in order to allow our sport to take place legally in the United States and now the world. I am incredibly grateful to everyone who booked the tickets, hotels, and flights to support me. Thank you all for being there through every moment, every victory, every challenge. You've made this journey unforgettable. Thank you for the love and support. I will carry it with me always. With love, Dominick Cruz. And this is our boy, dislocated shoulder. As a person, I mean, put a parental advisory sticker on it.
That's an album cover right there.
Right. As someone who has dislocated his shoulder in you know, combat sports, and on a first date with a girl playing tennis, first swing.
Stop that!
It sucks ass, dude.
We might need a story time right there.
Okay, so it wasn't a first date. It was first time meeting a very nice lady. I went to college with, and it was during the pandemic. She lived in New York, and I lived in Tampa, obviously, and I went to visit her, and I was staying with her for a bit. And upon the first day meeting her sister and her brother-in-law, who she loved, she was like, they're very competitive. They want to know if we want to play tennis, but like they're really competitive. And like her and her sister, I guess, were both tennis coaches. The brother-in-law was actually a wrestler, and I was hot into jiu-jitsu at that point. I think I had just I was like coming off. I was a little bit recently off of a
And he's watching you dislocate your shoulder,
bro.
Play
And not only this, bro. You ready for this? I like we had breakfast with them that day, and then we were gonna go over to the courts, and like me and him are kind of like screwing with each other, talking about wrestling versus jiu-jitsu, all that. Is like, I would take you down. I'm like, yeah. Then what are you gonna do? I'm gonna strangle you off my back. But and I would have. But I'm actively telling my girlfriend, like, look, I took tennis class in high school. I wasn't great, but I love it and I know how to do it. We have to win. Hey, we really have to like turn it on here. I need to win. And she's like, okay, yeah, we'll do it. She's a sweetheart, but she's like, yeah, like I'll do it. We'll win. And we're warming up. And like they do the volley, like just to kind of like warm up, and I put my arm up and I go to swing and my shoulder comes out. First swing, still cold, not a sweat has been broken. Get there at 9:03. I'm on the floor of the tennis courts, and like they're all coming over to me. They're all scared, and I'm like, this happened a few times, and usually in jiu-jitsu, though I didn't know it was this bad. And they're like, what do we do? Do we call an ambulance? I'm like, fuck no, I'm not paying. Tom, grab my arm, and he's like, and I'm like, just hold my arm up. I gotta. I'm like laying on the floor because like if you flatten your back out, a lot of times it can help kind of suck your shoulder back in, and it did. And needless to say, your boy took an L that day, and it was not the best look as we call
First
it.
and last date?
No. We dated for a little bit. That sweetheart, that gem of a human being, looked past that fucking embarrassing L to give me a chance for a little bit longer. Don't worry. Then my dad died, and 2 weeks later on New Year's Day, she broke up with me. Well, I guess we kind of split because I had other shit on my mind, obviously. But yeah, and on to the next. All happens for a reason. I also wanted to show this post because it really encapsulates who Dominick Cruz is and what his legacy actually should be. And that's as a lady killer. Dominick Cruz, enjoy retirement, forever a legend. Any athlete who left the sport undefeated, I question, are you really undefeated or did you not challenge yourself as hard as you could have? The quote, cool. The picture, Dominick Cruz has always had a little bit of a stigma for being with hot girls, and I always thought that was really funny because he was always like, he was on like Joe Rogan being like, I don't know, the fight life, makes it hard to be in a relationship. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. I've also seen your interviews with other fighters. I bet you're really hard to fucking deal with, like the way that you argue.
Sean Strickland, I guess he stole one of Sean Strickland's ladies one time. Sean Strickland had a story about that, but then he also thanked Dominick Cruz for dodging a hooker.
Exactly. Yeah. Dominick Cruz just absolutely like Mr. Steal Your Girl. So I want to check real quick. I put some test clips up because the UFC is very strict with their copyright, as you all, I'm sure, know. One video passed, one video did not, and I wanted to just check and see if the other video... Looks like the other video did not, so maybe we can get to that in a second here. But I actually, on a serious note, I loved this this quote from Dominick Cruz. Dominick Cruz comes back for the second time off of an injury, right? The first time he comes back, he fights Takeya Mizugaki, whatever. Gets injured after that, or destroys Takeya Mizugaki, who was ranked number 5 at the time. Destroys Takeya Mizugaki in a minute. Earns a title shot against Dillashaw. Gets injured sometime in between there, but then keeps the title shot. So they fight again in 2016. And Dominick Cruz puts on a stellar performance against Dillashaw. And here, I'll kind of play it in the background while we talk about it. Hopefully this doesn't trigger copyright. Dominick Cruz, this is just one of my favorite sequences in the fight. But Dominick Cruz coming back, and it was such an anticipated fight, right? This right here. Boom. Right? He bounces against the cage. TJ Dillashaw using footwork and stance switching to pressure. Dominick evasive with his footwork, right? Changes direction laterally again, but finds that opening. Uppercut, hook on TJ Dillashaw here. Angles out. right? Gets himself off the cage. I mean, beautiful beautiful work by Dominick Cruz here.
Final thing, would you say, and you've had big moments in your life, is tonight the greatest moment of Dominick Cruz's life?
No. The greatest moment in my life was realizing that I didn't need a belt to be happy.
Wow. I can't imagine how much happier you are now.
There you go. Now it's a cherry on top.
Yeah.
So yeah, Dominick Cruz ending his career, storied career, great analyst and commentator, and I'm excited to see what he does behind the desk. Dorain, any final thoughts on Dominick Cruz here?
For Dom, and just to touch on one thing about that fight, I think after that fight, if anybody can find it, put it in the comment section. TJ said something to Cruz, and Cruz realized that TJ was on something else.
Really?
He was on the needle. Yep.
Really? What did he say? Do you know?
I think Cruz said that he complimented his cardio in some odd way, and it made him think that what Cody was saying was true, because he goes, if you have good cardio, you wouldn't say something like that. But he did, and he's like, I think that he actually may be on the sauce.
TJ Dillashaw on fucking on EPO too, like not even just like testosterone or drostanolone or like any kind of like crazy, like on EPO, the shit that Lance Armstrong does. It's fucking
but
wild.
Overall, Cruz will be missed. He gave us good fights, and he gave us hit the whole trilogy with Uriah Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Or Uriah Faber.
Yeah.
Uriah Hall, get out of here.
Yeah.
Uriah Faber, California Kid. He gave us that trilogy. We were in Ybor one of those nights. We were supposed to be watching the fights. Stream wasn't working. We said, fuck it.
Yeah, because that was the night that Bisping fought
Bisping won the title.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
We were getting refills of a beer. I looked down at the phone. I'm like, Klein!
That was Soho. That was what was it?
It was Soho.
It was Soho.
Yes.
We were at whatever place it was before. It's now the Grove. It's somewhere up, bro. We were there, and I think it was the old Soho Saloon kind of place. Dude, that was wild, because I didn't have Bisping winning against Rockhold. Rockhold came in and destroyed Chris Weidman, and also beat Bisping before, and so we were like, holy shit. I remember actually another memory with you about that fight, the Uriah Faber Dominick Cruz 3. The Countdown episode came out like a week before that or something, and I was at your place and we watched that. And I remember the lady you were dating at the time was like, I don't like him about Uriah Faber, and I was like, that's what's up. Yeah, no one does. Uriah Faber, let's put a fucking pair of shorts on that chin and fucking see you strut around the but yeah, man. So moving on. We got Israel Adesanya has been in the news, obviously, for his loss against Imavov, however you fucking say it. And there's a lot of speculation on whether or not he is going to retire, not retire. Is he washed? Is he done? Does he fight again? Does he need to? I think his legacy is fine. I don't know if he fights again. He seems to think that he does. And I have a clip for us, obviously, but then he also he posted something on X recently where he was like he's like studying and homework and things of that nature, and it's like, damn, dude, so he's gonna fight again. I wonder if he thinks that he's got another title run in him. Did you watch Imavov versus Adesanya?
I did, for as long as it lasted. I did see it.
30 seconds into the second round.
Yeah, right at the beginning of the second round, it was over. Izzy took a bow. But the way that the fight ended, with Izzy having like that like big persona and like big personality, he's not the type of guy that's he's not gonna call it quits now and we get the post. He's the type of fighter where he's gonna announce, this is my last fight, and we're gonna see it. Now who he fights next, I don't know. I'd have to take a look at the division. I mean, Dana White said, that's the best Izzy's looked in round one. Izzy did look really good in round one.
He did.
It wasn't the best. I thought that the fight was going to go to decision. I thought Imavov might have opportunities to finish him on the ground, and he cracked him. Because, when looking at Izzy's past opponents, he's usually taller than them. He's got the reach advantage. And then when you look at, the past couple opponents, similar stature and size, and, he can't fade out of range, lean back. And, I'm not the biggest Izzy fan. Lean out of range and hit leg kicks. And now you're fighting guys with similar stature. And it just doesn't work. It doesn't look as good. I thought the first person to ever really show holes in Izzy's game was Jan. I thought Jan Blachowicz, when Izzy plants his feet to fade back at a range, his hips are too square and it's an easy takedown. Mm-hmm. And Jan, every time he do that, Jan would just scoop him up, take him down, and he did his thing. And I thought to myself for a split second, I'm like, if somebody were to just kind of step in and throw a little extra, they might catch him back there.
I'm surprised Jan.
It's been happening.
I'm surprised Jan wasn't the first one to do that, because Jan was fucking, first off, hits like a goddamn Mack truck, but also like Jan was doing a really good job of. Izzy opens up a lot of his striking, especially his boxing, with the leg kicks by like disabling. Saw the Paulo Costa fight. Freezes them, chews up their legs. Jan was hitting his own leg kicks and dealing with Izzy's, like a lot of checks, and that was kind of a really good opening to the blueprint to defeating Adesanya. But I thought that was weird that like Jan didn't as good as Jan showed to be after that, and the holes that are in Izzy's game. I'd actually be interested in seeing that.
I felt like Jan was also fighting to not lose. He knew what he had to do. He knew his game plan. It wasn't, I want to finish this guy. It was like, I can't lose to this guy, because Izzy came in. He didn't really try to put on that extra weight. He's like, I'm just going to go in
just a skinny
as
guy.
is at 185. And Jan was like, this isn't working. That I will not allow that to work on me here.
That was when Izzy was Izzy. Andy had the hype behind him, and he's
he did.
Coming off of fun fights, and he was still pretty liked by most of the fans. And Jan was like, I am not going to be the Eddie Alvarez here for you to give this guy my fucking belt. And so let's take a look at what Izzy had to say. I have not seen this clip, so I'll be interested to hear what he has to say. Israel Adesanya.
How do you feel about your performance?
Awesome. I wouldn't change a thing about this camp. I felt great. Next fight's going to be even better. I'm going to chase the red again, do everything I did, sacrifice. I just use a solitude and everything just to fire myself and fuel myself for this. And that's why now that I've finished the camp, had the fight, done well, I'm like, man, I'm just going to enjoy myself, because I work hard and I play hard.
I'm glad. There you have it, folks.
Here it is.
I'm checking to make sure my mic is still on. Izzy, if he fights again, who do you think he fights again? If he fights again,
I'm gonna have to take a look at that division. If anything, I know Vettori threw his name in a hat. I don't know how excited we would be to see Vettori Izzy 3, but Vettori, when he would hit his takedown, Izzy would kind of square his hips up where he's expecting to like lean out of range, and Vettori would hit the little takedowns that he did. So oh man, this is this is tough. This 185 division, it's become tough because it wasn't really that competitive, but I felt like it looked that way because Izzy was at the top and everybody's like, well, who matches up best with Izzy? That's not the case.
I think
him and Whitaker they're friends now. They've squashed the beef. They're training together. Whitaker flew out there. Cannonier has a fight. Vettori, I don't think he has a fight. I think Brendan Allen has a fight. I felt like Vettori and Brendan Allen, after throwing down in the casino, should have fought each other.
So I like
Hernandez has a fight.
I like Izzy.
And
Paulo
Michelle
Costa
has a fight. Ooh, that's a good one.
What do you think about Bo Hachinha, Style Bender 2? What do you think about Israel Adesanya, Bo Nickel?
Ooh. That's a good. Those are both good fights for him because Paulo needs a fight. He wants that one back. Izzy humped him after
he was
he beat him.
He was not himself for that fight, and he was never the same after that fight.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, exactly. Too much wine, and then he had to fight Vittori at 185. Yeah. It looked like he was going to make weight. They moved up to 205. They had to move it again. That was a mess, but that'd be interesting. As far as Bo Nickel, I feel like Bo Nickel's been saying like he doesn't want to like rush in to big fights, but this would be a really good opportunity for him. Even though I don't think that him himself would want the fight at this point in time. I feel like he would, but just not right now.
Yeah.
But if they were to fight, people may not like the take, but give me Bo Nickel. I feel like Bo Nickel.
Really?
Izzy's hard to get down, but if you can get him down, you can kind of slice right through his guard, his half guard. Vittori was able to get to his back, didn't finish the choke. We've seen it a few times. Even DDP got him down a couple times, and he showed great defense. But I feel like for Bo Nickel, if they make that fight, on the feet, he's going to be at a disadvantage. It'll be one of those classic striker versus wrestler matchups. But I'm going to favor the young, hungry guy. I don't think Izzy has much to prove to anybody. I'm not the biggest Izzy fan. I think his reign is a little underwhelming. But he beat who he needed to beat. So I would I feel like if you ask Vegas, the line actually might be even. Just because of the wrestling aspect of Bo Nickel. Yeah, he didn't want to shoot on Paul Craig because Paul Craig is dangerous down there. Yeah. Izzy, he's not dangerous down there. So I don't think he's going to be gun shy when it comes to the takedowns. He's still learning the game.
I think he runs into it. I'll say it.
I feel like Izzy would beat Paulo Costa. I feel like Bo Nickel would stylistically should give him some problems.
Okay.
Keyword should.
We'll call it right here on the Fightcraft podcast. If the next fight for Izzy and Bo Nickel is Izzy versus Bo Nickel, Dorain and I put a $100 bet on the fight, and I got Izzy, and he's obviously got Bo Nickel. Now we have to wait. We have to wait and see, right? Bo Nickel, if they get matched up with someone else before they fight, we'll talk about it then. But as of right now, if they were to fight right now, next 3 months, I have Izzy in that fight.
People don't like the Bo Nickel approach, but in the words of Chael, on Bo Nickel's contract, give me the easiest guy for the biggest paycheck, man. He's not on this crazy contract. Give me the easiest guy, biggest payday. Chael said it. Everybody's new favorite, Kevin Holland, has said it. Mr. 4570 himself. He's gonna keep fighting out the contracts, and he's not gonna take high risk for the amount on his contract.
You said Kevin Holland. I thought you said I pictured Kevin Lee, and I was gonna ask, but now it's like, well, fuck it. I already brought it up. Did you see Kevin Lee get starched in sparring?
I felt bad for Kevin Lee because that footage shouldn't have come out. He was clearly not throwing that knee with any ill intent. It looked like it was supposed to be going light, and the guy turned on the camera at the right time. Maybe it was already on, but I felt like the guy. In my opinion, I don't feel like that camera was on before. Felt like it just got turned on, and the guy was just waiting for his moment because it's camera, former title contender here. Let me hit him. Let me show you what I can do to him.
Kevin Lee, man. First off, we have fun in sparring. If someone did that to me, I would like to think that I'd be a little bit more mature about it after the fact, but I would also be actively pissed. I'd be like, okay, we're going to officially stop pulling punches and head kicks after that move. But if they filmed it and put it out there, I mean, that's kind of fucked. You want to put a little bit of sparring when you're dancing around, maybe landing a couple of cool shots. That's one thing, but to show you starching somebody is kind of fucked up. Kevin Lee on X after that. This made it so much worse. I felt worse for Kevin Lee after I read this post than I did after I saw the video. I don't know who posted that video or why, but I'm heading right now to find out. I can only blame myself for showing mercy and pulling my knee back, but it's training, so I thought, let me not blast him. I see I shouldn't have been playing around with a guy like that. Since motherfuckers want to start showing sparring, I'm going to start showing sparring from now on. Kevin Lee getting roasted in the comments.
Oh boy.
About don't throw a knee while both your hands are down and chin up. LOL. Why would you?
Never seen Kevin Lee throw a flying knee.
Never in my life, dude.
I feel bad for him though. That shouldn't be out there. That guy took advantage of the moment of the camera being on.
That's fucked.
That guy's trying to live in the moment. So,
yeah, right. That's fucked.
Good luck to that guy trying to find a gym that's going to take him.
Right.
So,
a little bit of news I wanted to get to here as well. A weird one, but you're a boxing boy now, so let's take a look. MMA Junkie reporting Jake Paul goes off on Canelo Alvarez here.
oh boy.
Breaking news, Canelo Alvarez ducked me, Jake Paul, and is now an owned slave with no regard for the pride of the Mexican people who support him on U.S. soil. It's not surprising when his whole career has done nothing for the sport of boxing outside the ring. I'm the new face of boxing. You cannot have the biggest fight of 2025 without my name involved. When all of your events tank and lose money, you will all realize who the king of the sport is. 28 years old, biggest fight in boxing history. My own boss, not owned, 5 years in. All you felines, Jesus Klein, want to see me fail, but God has other plans. It's the era of good, the era of the elephant. It's the era of MVP, most valuable promotions. What are your thoughts on this?
Man. Now, he is ranting. There is a small bit of truth in here, as much as I hate to say it. I'm not a fan of the Paul brothers. I'm not gonna say I don't like them. I don't know much about them. I know that they were YouTubers. I know Jake's trying to do his thing. He likes fighting the old washed up 40-year-old wrestlers of the UFC, sprinkling Anderson Silva, Nate Diaz. Now, I'm gonna applaud Canelo. Stop giving this guy attention. Is boxing dying? Yeah, Jake Paul ain't wrong. Everybody and their mother knows that boxing, it's dying. It's been dead. It's because the best don't really fight the best all the time.
A little bit coming back. You know.
You're right. So slowly coming back. But this move right here, because I think Canelo is going to fight Terrence Crawford, that's going to help. That's a great fight for boxing. I want to see that.
Yeah, I got Bud Crawford in that.
Do not give the Paul brothers any attention. If they offer you a fight, I'm not getting offered that money, but I'd take it probably. But for the sake of your sport, do not give them any attention, because if you stop giving them attention, they'll slowly fade out. He may go fight KSI or whoever again. Just don't give him any attention, because the more you feed into him, you give him what he wants. Just let him go away. Let him die out. Focus on your sport. Canelo is one of the faces of boxing. Right now, you got Canelo, Usyk. I think Tyson Fury may retire. I'm not too sure. Do not quote me on that. Do not attack me. You got Gervonta Davis. You got Ryan Garcia coming back after that suspension. He's going to be fighting Haney again. It looks like we'll see what happens there. There's a lot of politics in boxing. Whoever wants to have dinners with the refs and commission first, we'll see. But he's not lying in this post. I'm not a fan of his, but I will applaud Canelo for fighting for the potential bout of him versus Crawford. It'll bring a lot of eyes to the sport. Stop feeding into the Paul brothers, for the love of Christ. Stop feeding. Do not fight them, because if he fights them, you give him what he wants. You juice him up more, and after he gets the fight, then he does it more. Don't give him what he wants. Goodbye.
A lot of conspiracies about like Paul's contracts that he gives out too, like their pay.
A little fishy.
I don't know. And I'm not usually a conspiracy guy, but I do applaud Canelo for this as well. Canelo's manager, I believe, or reporter, Turkey Al-Sheikh. Canelo fights only real fighters. Fair. Dorain, gun to your head, answer right now. If you have to make one fight, who do you make Jake Paul fight? Canelo Alvarez or Conor McGregor?
Canelo.
Yeah, same. Because one, my heart can't bear if another MMA legend goes and fights this guy and then loses. No matter how crazy I think that is as a possibility, I'm just like, you know what? It's happened too much. It can't happen again. Nate Diaz, Anderson Silva, Mike Tyson. I cannot have Conor McGregor's scalp on Jake Paul's wall.
No, because the thing with MMA is like when you put them in boxing, like yes, they can box, but more than half of their tools are gone.
It's addition by subtraction. There's only 4 punches in boxing, right?
Like there's you can't throw knees, can't throw kicks. You can clinch just a little bit. The referee always dives in there.
Yep.
You know that there's no takedown, submissions, ground and pound. There's more than half the arsenal's gone. So when a lot of people are like, oh yeah, but he beat this former world champ, all his tools were gone. How's he going to complete a job with just one tool that in his world he would need all of his tools to complete, you know?
Yeah.
So
I
that
agree.
and you know,
McGregor,
he's my boy ain't putting down that booger sugar anytime soon. Don't need to see him railing a couple lines backstage for 2 rounds of cardio. And
did you see
Jake
him?
Paul, who's much bigger,
BKFC?
Probably gonna flatline him.
You see your boy McGregor at BKFC just blitzed out of his mind, like throwing T-shirts out of the audience or something. Like that is wild to see, man. And you're like, damn. He's definitely not the same. Like CTE is real, probably cocaine too, and like just a bunch of wild boy type of shit. So that's crazy. And also same. I would rather see Canelo because also like Canelo is an actual boxer who's like, yeah, definitely not the best in the sport right now. I don't think it's crazy to say that. I think he fought Bivol, and Bivol kind of like really put the cabal on that, but Canelo versus Jake Paul would still be like me versus like a dove or something. Like it would just not be cool. Like Canelo would fucking break Jake Paul's face, and I don't think
I think for 2 rounds it'd be fun, but after that, once he figures him out, it's not gonna be fun no more.
Because Canelo's not gonna like take a risk in the first round, but at the same time, it's like, bro. How many, and even as I say this, I'm thinking about it, how many times have I said so-and-so is going to fuck Jake Paul up? And I'm just like, it's the meme. It's the meme. He can't keep getting away with this. Like, I just become, it's so fucking crazy, dude.
Jesse I'm like, from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Nate Diaz? Okay, but surely not Anderson Silva, right? Like, no, and then he can't keep getting away with this. Dude,
Tommy Fury didn't let him get away with it, even with the point deduction. He didn't let him get away with that.
Wild. I really thought Tyron Woodley was going to knock him out too, because I was like, Tyron Woodley is not a great boxer, but he has that power, and I'm like, I could just see and like nothing, dude. And then he got fucking slept by Jake Paul, and that was not cool, bro. The ghost of Nate Robinson, former basketball player, somewhere still face down on the fucking canvas. Damn. Okay, so moving on here, because we got to get to this, because I got to go and see my wonderful mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law.
Future mother-in-law. I forgot.
Future.
Yeah. Future mother-in-law.
You bent the knee
for sure. No, I have not bent the knee, but it's only a matter of time, man. It's only a matter of time.
There we go.
I would burn the city down for Hannah.
My man's getting ready to bend the knee like Jon Snow.
Jon Snow. And for someone who's not my aunt, how did you propose to your girl?
Well, at least for me, I went ring shopping first, because as a guy, you know, you have a number in your head. You're like, all right, you know, what's in my salad?
Yeah. So how crazy is that number when you go ring shopping? You're like, this is the number, and then you go and you're like, oh, the number that I had in my head is way lower than what I am seeing here.
I felt like my number was like somewhat in the ballpark.
Yeah.
But like when I first went, I thought that everything came together. I thought the metal with the diamond, the size, I thought it was all just, go. They're like, you get the metal, then you pick the diamond, then you got to pay for the size. I'm like, whoa.
This is a good conversation to have. This is news to me. I'm finding out in real time. Interesting. So you're telling me, interesting. Go on. Ooh, terrible.
So I was like, damn. The lady looked at me and she goes, "Are you okay, sweetie?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, I just thought, it all was, came together there.
You pick a ring.
In the most I got to base it off is movies. I was like, my stepbrothers got married, but when I see I only see the finished product. I just see everything all in one.
You see the post,
but no.
The girl's got her nails done. Yeah.
But they do make some now. Those are a little bit more pricier, but they're all there. So I just went with everything all together. It cost a pretty penny. The way I did it was I got my girl's family involved. We're here in Florida. I'm on the East Coast. There's a beach on every single corner here. If you make a right turn, the beach is 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
So I went to a little craft store. I got the words that spelled out, "Will you marry me?" I called up my now brother-in-laws. I said, "Look, I'm going to leave these words here in the mailbox. We're going out to dinner tonight. You guys are going to get these, get the rest of the family, lay them out at the beach tomorrow, 2 p.m.
Dude.
So I blindfolded my girl. I got the blindfold idea because there's one Valentine's Day. Wifey now blindfolded me, and she took me to this crazy hotel, and she blindfolded me. We're going through everywhere. I'm like, where the hell am I going? Because it throws you off when you're blindfolded and you're going through this huge ass hotel. I'm like, she's about to fucking throw me off the fucking roof.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on here? So I blindfolded her back to try to have her thinking, oh, now he's going to take me somewhere. I took her. I had the ring in the back of the car. We had this huge tent set up with the words. And they used sticks and shells to give it a beach vibe. Her family was there. The kids were there. Said, "Will you marry me?" So I had her face the words and I stood behind her. I took the blindfold off. So she read it, gave it a little shock value. And then when she turned around to me, I was on one knee with the ring. Went out to a nice dinner. Shout out to Kyle G's. We went to lunch the next day. We went out to Kyle G's.
Nice.
We had to find a sitter. And then, next year we got married.
Bro, baller move.
Not a long proposal. We just did a year.
Yeah. Because we're getting old. You're ready, right? And also, here's the thing. With an engagement, you don't want to be "Will you marry me?" and then, in a month or two you're getting married at fucking Kmart or something. But you also don't want to be I know some people who have been engaged for years, and you're
same.
Losing interest or something. That's kind of a weird vibe.
I know that everybody wants to give their girl the dream wedding. Luckily, our venue, her dream venue, it had availability later in the year, because one of our boys, he was engaged for 7-8 years, and then eventually he prioritized work over the girl, and they broke up. I was like, I don't know if I would have
talking about, man.
But
bro, you hit
when your boy does something you don't agree with, you just got to hit him with the, hey man, as long as you're happy.
No, man, you tell me straight up to my face. You tell me straight up. Don't let me make an ass out of myself.
That's a great decision right there.
If it hits 3 years, you just fake your death and fucking leave the state. What do you do? You got to back out of that. 3 years is probably the maximum. That's maybe the long, not for me personally, but I think generally. But 7 years is fucking wild. I don't know how long my engagement will be, but I don't see I find a nice little sweet spot. I feel a year's perfect, year and a half, 2 years.
I'd say at
over
least
there,
2 years, depending on the venue that you want. You'll kind of be able to gauge. But I was like, if anything's gonna put us over X amount of years, I was like, I felt that's too long. I'm not trying to get married at the courthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you did, no
I'm not
offense.
opposed to it. Yeah, I'm actually not
Not-
opposed to that. Like, if
Not my cup of tea.
me and Hannah have
It
talked
wasn't
about
the
it,
latest cup of teas, but
we've had some wild nights with gin and tequila
technically
being like,
you do get
"Let's just
married at
fucking go."
the. Technically, you kind of do get married at the courthouse because that's where you get like your marriage license,
I've
and
heard, yeah.
you're kind of married there, and they give you a free dinner to a restaurant, and then
Dope.
you have like the big thing for everybody. So even wifey, at first it didn't ring a bell, and then like the next day, wifey's like, "Damn," she goes, "We kind of got married at the courthouse, and then you kind of get married again like the day before."
It's kind of like a formality when you have the
sis-
ceremony.
Yeah, my sister-in-law married us. She had that power, and we had to like sign like the wedding certificate. So technically, we
Nice.
got my anniversary is on February 10th. So technically, we were married on the 9th.
3 days.
And then with our wedding venue, we were able to sleep there and then have the wedding venue and have the wedding the next day.
Word.
So technically, we
pretty
got
dope.
married at like midnight over a
Nice.
shot with all of our
Hell yeah, dude. That's how you want to do it.
our groomsmen and bridesmaids getting trashed.
Also,
Just fun.
not trying to like have a wedding that is so expensive that it's like we could have bought a house, a big down payment on a house or something. Like, what the fuck are we doing for a party? For this is for me to get blackout drunk and for you to wear a nice dress in front of all your friends? Not fucking happening.
Hey, honestly, it was pricey. Don't regret
I can see that.
It was awesome. Like the DJ was cool. We had the open bar, which when we left to like do our thing in the limo, I asked my stepbrother because I have 3 stepbrothers, 1 stepsister. I told one of my oldest stepbrothers, like, "Hey man," I was like, "Get me a bottle from the open bar or 2, just throw them in here while we drive off." And he ran, he got him. So, it was a vibe.
Nice.
We went to the hotel. Honeymoon was the next week. People thought we were going out of town that week. No, we just went to a hotel back home the next day, and then honeymoon for a week after that.
That's the way to do it, dude. Space it out.
Shout out to the Sanders Resort in Jamaica.
No, being a wedding videographer, I've shot 2 weddings, both for friends, and so I did not charge them much. But like researching how much people charge just for the video and the photo and all that stuff, oh my god, I can't imagine what the whole thing is.
That was
like
my
50K.
biggest regret, was not having a videographer there.
Damn.
Our photographer, amazing. And then we thought for the video, we're like, no, people will take videos.
Mhm.
But then like when you're like doing like the vows and all that fun stuff, I was like, damn. It's like, I really wish we would have had that on video just to see not even our reactions, just people's reactions.
Everybody's reaction. That's awesome.
Because we almost had like 200 people at our wedding. And only 3 or 4 didn't show up at Klein. But that's neither here nor there.
I was broke as fuck, but also I can't remember what happened. I forget what happened. What year did you get married? 22?
2023.
23. Oh, I remember that. Sorry, buddy. Your boy was destitute, as they say. It's also how I know I love my girlfriend now, because I had fucking nothing when we started dating. No, dude, you love to put a little bow on this wholesome ass segment here on the Fightcraft podcast. Special guest Dorain Miller joining us. That is dope to see. You love to see, you grow up, right? You get more mature. You don't think that like things that are permanent in your life and constant are actually weighing you down. You find out that you're actually like living for those things, and that's fucking sweet to see. And Dorain like also stepping up and being like, yeah, I'm gonna like, not to get too personal or put your business out there, but like yeah, I'm gonna take on children, and fucking like the wedding means more, like the marriage means more. Like you're not just finding some lady and linking a life together. You're like, I'm also gonna like, bro, I got your back so hard that I got your kids back too, because these are now my kids, and that's fucking badass to see. You love to see it.
So never thought of this life while slinging cell phones out there in Best Buy.
Yeah, dude, the good old days. I was at AT&T. Your boy over there was at Verizon. The good old days. I'm so glad that I loaded this up, bro. The good old days of Klein and Dorain going out to clubs in Ybor. I don't even remember this picture being taken. Look at these guys. Look at these fucking idiots.
Oh, shit.
Look at these idiots. And then I got one more for you. My most hated and least favorite picture that I also love and treasure. taken by Dorain himself at a Miller's Ale House, which
Bro, back
coincidentally
then,
is it's where it's actually the restaurant that they give you a coupon to when you go down to the courthouse and sign your wedding, your marriage license.
Bro, we were lucky. We got Texas Roadhouse.
Damn, that's legit. Damn,
But
that's actually
we
legit.
love Texas Roadhouse. It's good. But
And it's kind of, you're like, look, we don't expect a big thing today. We're just here to get our marriage license. They're like, do you want free Texas Roadhouse? Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah.
give me the card. Bro, back
okay,
then
so
when we would hit a bar for like we'd have $20 in our pocket. We're looking at the prices on the menu, like, damn, if I get a drink and some French fries, I might be broke.
Yeah.
Damn, bro, how times have changed.
And you're factoring in her. I mean, yeah, dudes. We've both come a long way, my man, from these
Everybody's
two.
been there. I like
These two
to think.
fuck boys. We were smart about it though. Dorain and I would get, we would spend $5 on pregame drinks. My boys fist in 2 Coronas, and I got like a bottle of, white wine, oak leaf, $2.99, baby.
Oh,
$2.75
32-ounce
with your
Coronas,
Winn-Dixie.
2 of them.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, the big boy Coronas, not like little 2 of a 6-pack. Like we're talking like the Corona bottle that's like 3 Coronas, and then we just hit the town. A couple of big dicks and great personalities, going home alone and early, and because we got to open up Best Buy the next day. Shout out to those 2 guys who tried their hardest.
Best Buy's finest.
Right. Okay, so let's get to the card. Let's get to the card here.
That's pretty much it. Oh, a lot of people don't like rumored, or maybe it's official, Chandler versus Arman Tsarukyan. Personally, I'm not mad at that, bro.
I'm a fan of that
I feel like
fight.
Statistically, that's a good fight matchup.
That's a good fight. And after watching the Gamrot Arman fight, I got Arman. I wanted Chandler versus Patty because I just feel like where's Chandler going to go? Like, I don't think he's going to beat Arman, but you never know, man. Arman's a big boy, too. I got Arman in that. Who you got, if it is true?
Bro, that is... I mean, it's easy to pick Arman. When you, like, break down, like, Chandler's, like, wrestling, the power...
Mm-hmm.
The thing that concerns me is that Oliveira was able to take him down so easily, but like maybe he wasn't expecting Oliveira to shoot like that. Because Oliveira got pretty low and he's kind of dumping them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were nice takedowns. So maybe he wasn't expecting them. Maybe he had an injury. I don't know. Only he knows. But seeing that, give me Arman.
Yeah.
Who do I want to win? Give me Chandler.
I
like Chandler.
The only time you'll
I
find
think
me like
it'd be
rooting for
crazy
Chandler.
if Chandler goes out there and sparks him. I think it'd be crazy. It's good for the division. I don't think Arman would lose that much stock.
It would be such a Michael Chandler thing if he went out there and then got another win, and they're like, "Fuck!" I mean, we can give him another title contender fight at least. Like, damn, dude. But I don't know. I wanted either Chandler versus Hooker 2, or I wanted Chandler versus Patty. But
I think Hooker may be booked against Justin
Gaethje.
Yeah, bro, that's
I gotta get the fuck out of here real quick. Gaethje, Hooker, who you got?
We gotta save that for another day.
I got Dan Hooker. No, give the people.
Give it to you on this podcast.
Rub my clit a little bit. Who you got? Chandler or Gaethje?
It's gonna be a good fight. Can't give it to you now.
Fucker, you
can't give it to you now, bro. That's a tough one. I gotta see if Dan Hooker dyes his hair. There's little factors.
Super Saiyan Hooker. Yeah, bro. Super Saiyan Hooker. Brunson, Oliveira, Hooker. You dye your hair blonde, bro. Just saying.
If he looks shit on fight week, I can't make a prediction. I gotta see how people look on fight week too. Anything can happen.
Love Gaethje, love Hooker, but I got the Hangman in that one, dude. That dude's taken someone's life, and Gaethje is now reaping the rewards of his I don't care about head trauma fucking style for a decade. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, man. Well, shit. I had some fun. This is almost a 2-hour fucking podcast here. Everybody follow Dorain
shit.
and our boy Dan, of course. Dan, who's in our 3-way group chat.
We got to get him on here.
Shooting the shit. We'll get Dan on for the next one. How about that? Me, you, and Dan.
Dan's got some nice takes. Our boy Dan, if you're watching,
we'll tell the. How about this? We'll get Dan. You better be watching. You better be one of the 6 people watching this goddamn show.
Dan likes to. If you're a good guy, if you're a baby face in WWE terms, you're probably on Dan's.
Yeah, and that's funny because I would say I'm somewhere in the middle. Dan, definitely a baby face. You are definitely a heel, you big salty dog. You. I got 60 seconds for you because we have to get to this. I got 60 fucking seconds for you, real quick.
What do we got here?
What do you think about this?
Oh, bro, I saw a clip of this, and as you know, bro, I do not like DC. He's over here talking about Jones, whereas DC, this is just my opinion. So you could come at me in the comments if you want. That's fine.
Hit him in the comments,
But
people.
I
Fuck
don't
this
like
guy.
DC. I feel like his reign in the UFC was overrated. He beat washed up Frank Mir, washed up Roy Nelson, Patrick Cummings in a debut, and then he's like, "Oh, I could beat Jones." Yeah, fucking right. UFC honey dicked us into that first fight, and John Jones whooped his fucking ass. Oh, he tested positive. He got cocaine in the system. Yeah, so what? That was over the weekend. He showed up fight night, ready to go. Sunned him. Round two, fight 2. Maybe a little something in the system for Jones. IQ still there. He's hitting the body. Head kicked him. Out of there. DC's back there crying in the ring. That's what he does. He cries after a loss. Oh, I want to move up. Oh, so they throw him Ozdemir. He fights Volkan Ozdemir. He's like, yeah, okay, I got another win. And then he wants to go up. He fights Derek Lewis. They were both hurt. Derek Lewis, bad back. And then we give him
dog.
and then we give him Stipe, and we all know what happened there. Yeah, he cracked.
Yeah, what
Stipe
happened in that first
and
fight,
then
huh?
what happened there? All right, then he proceeds to go on, and his legacy is on the line again, and he falls short once again. DC is known for living in the shadow of John Jones. He wants to talk about GOAT conversation. He can't. He's not in the conversation. He's not on my Mount Rushmore. I don't know if he's on very many people's Mount Rushmores. He may be in yours. He ain't in mine.
It's not on my Mount Rushmore, but you got to give credit to the double
is living
champ,
in the
bro.
shadow of John Jones, and he's still salty about it, and that's why to this day he'll still take shots. John Jones tries to be his friend. Probably not genuine. Knowing John, definitely not genuine. But so what? He ain't sitting here saying I son DC.
I got a live shot of. What's up?
John Jones did have that one post a couple years ago
Mm-hmm.
where DC posted his mugshot. He goes, "What do we have here?" John Jones, savage reply, said, "DC, that is the face of a guy that would have you washing his underwear in your own fucking house." And he ain't wrong, because what's DC gonna do? He can't beat him up.
Cold,
you can't beat him up.
Fucking statement there by the champion. I got an actual live shot of Dorain taken from hidden cameras last night. My man's got a big old salt lick in his house.
I do not like DC. DC, he's a cornball. He's overrated, in my opinion. And we're not going to sit here and be like, oh, he had a great legacy. I'll give him the Gus fight was good. The Rumble fights were good. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, he beat Frank Mir, bro. Frank Mir was just a fucking blob. After Lesnar beat him, he was just a blob that was obsessed with size. And he was
Josh
so
Barnett,
big,
the Strikeforce tournament, bro.
And where?
Silver medalist Olympic wrestling.
And where was Josh Barnett in when he fought him? Not the UFC. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Shut up. Strikeforce was the shit, okay?
All right.
On that note, my friends,
PFL
follow
champions
Dorain.
out there that want to fight Francis. Come on, bro.
I want a segment where you shit on DC every fucking episode. At Doughboy Fresh 20 on Instagram. Follow Dorain. He's still going
200
off.
plus pounds. The guy's a fucking 135 or 145 at best. Sean O'Malley's taller than this fucking guy.
He is actually. Oh my god, I love you, brother. That was a fun show. I'm gonna go home to a probably rather upset girlfriend. have a good night, man. And
All right, bro.
we'll catch you next time.
Peace.